Elden Ring is a great game. Yeah, I know, it's a pretty rare opinion these days. Elden Ring was the first real Souls game I played start to finish. The first thing I tell you about this great game is that the bosses are amazing. Literally everything about them. Their design, their story, their mechanics. Elden Ring bosses are truly masterfully tuned. Besides Elden Beast, but you can't be perfect. Jokes aside, every Elden Ring boss is a treat to fight, and they make you feel like such a thug for beating them. Throughout my first playthrough, I wanted to experience as much of the game as I could. I remember after beating the Fire Giant, I was at the home stretch of the game. I kept myself relatively spoiler-free throughout this entire time, but I wanted to know if I was missing anything before the end of the game. After doing my research, I found out there was not only an entire area left unexplored, but there was a very unique and important boss, hidden behind a teleporter of all things. I've always loved the Souls games for their great level design and cohesion. Mohg Palace, being relatively unconnected besides arbitrary teleporters and other paths, takes a little bit away from this area. This is a tough comparison to make, but think of Anor Londo. Think of the intro. Giving you a nice overhead view of everything all at once, really just letting you take it all in. Meanwhile, in Elden Ring, you just kind of appear in Mohg Palace. Yeah, I know there's other ways to get there, but this is the fastest way, and most people are going to go this way anyway. Yeah, the path to the boss arena is a little bit cinematic, but I feel like this area is too interesting, and for lack of a better term, awesome looking, to be so hidden and closed off without a proper entrance. Anyway, Mohg is one of the most interesting characters within Elden Ring, due to his connections between multiple important characters within the lore. The first and most important connection with Mohg is between his brother Morgott. Born twins, Mohg and Morgott are omens, born underneath the royal capital Lindell. This is the reason why Mohg and Morgott are the only two bosses in the entire game with shackle items, because they were both imprisoned in the subterranean shunning grounds. The biggest difference between these two brothers is how they coped with their cursed blood. Morgott sealed his evil blood into his weapon and vowed to protect the Erdtree. Meanwhile, Mohg accepted his cursed blood and used his power for selfish gain. Think of Mohg and Morgott as mirrors of each other. The other big connection with Mohg is with Miquella. Mohg, wanting to overthrow the Golden Order and begin his own dynasty, kidnapped Miquella to raise into godhood. In the base game, after entering Mohgwyn's palace, we see Miquella's presumed corpse. This led to the Elden Ring community comparing Mohg to famous rapper Sean Diddy Combs. But after Shadow of the Erdtree came out, this entire part of the story was put in a completely different context. Before accessing the entrance point to the DLC, you must defeat Mohg so you can reach Miquella at the end of the arena. We learned that Miquella isn't actually dead, and was using Mohg all along. Alright, now that we're done with the lore significance of Mohg, we can run through some of the smaller things that just make me love this boss so much. Mohg is the Lord of Blood, and is surrounded by a river of blood, which is an awesome introduction to the darker and more gory themes of this area. The Greek inspiration for Mohg Palace is random, but surprisingly fitting. Scaling the mountain makes for an admittedly annoying area at times due to how dark it is, but it makes up for it by building up to such a great boss in boss arena. Mohg, being the Lord of Blood, has a bunch of blood-themed attacks. One of these attacks being the Blood Ritual. After getting Mohg past a certain amount of health, he will begin an undodgeable attack that will take out a majority of your health while healing himself. This attack is avoidable by using a certain crystal tier in your physics flask. I like this attack a lot. Even though it's low-key bullshit, it's unique. No other bosses require a certain physics crystal to avoid damage. The drastic difference between Mohg and Morgoth's physical appearance forces you to think about what caused the variation between these twins. I don't know if you guys are familiar with COD Zombies, but Mohg's squiddish appearance really reminds me of the Shadow Man, and I love that. These are all great reasons to love Mohg, but these are all just sprinkles on top of the Mohg-themed cupcake. The most important factor when it comes to talking about Soulsborne bosses is the actual fight. Mohg starts off very simple. Only a few attacks. Pretty simple to dodge, but it'll definitely kill you once or twice before you get to his second phase, the Blood Ritual. After taking a majority of your health, Mohg's moveset completely changes, allowing him to fly across the arena super fast. Mohg has fast, layered combos with more range than you'd ever expect. The dance and the flow that Mohg puts you in is a real challenge. Most of the time, you can approach a lot of Elden Ring bosses in any way you'd like, but while fighting Mohg, you have to fight by his rules. The lack of control within this boss starts with the Blood Ritual and ends with this stupid blood splatter attack. This boss is mechanically pretty sound, besides this one attack. It feels like its hitbox is very inconsistent and leads to a lot of unfair hits. Personally, I've never been a fan of area denial in Souls games anyway. Mohg is one of the most captivating characters within Elden Ring. Mohg's design, his arena, and his attacks all make Mohg stand out from hundreds of bosses within the game. Mohg's gothic yet bloody aesthetic sticks with the overall vibe of Elden Ring, yet stays unique enough to be enthralling. Instead of rejecting who he was like his brother, Mohg accepted his blood and lived for himself. And unfortunately, that got him taken advantage of. Justice for Mohg.